a place to heal my soul. It is right here, we are right here, between the hills, the stars, the sky, the river so clear, river so clear.
Let us join in a spirit of meditation, reflection, or prayer as we deepen into our service and share our opening words for this morning. This is called Constellations of Our Lives, and it is by Karen G. Johnston. Humans make maps of stars, choosing some stars, ignoring others, to project our imaginations onto the heavens. These maps shift over time across cultures. Names change for the same assemblage of bright points: Drinking Gourd, Big Dipper, Plow, Lost Hunters, Saptarishi. Humans make constellations by connecting stars. Humans make meaning by connecting stories, story to story, narrative to story. Some blaze bright and some are faint. Most are backdrop to the great and mundane human unfolding. Let us imagine the stories of our lives as a starry universe above our heads. As leaders of this congregation, we are tasked and trusted to draw constellations in this, our beloved, small universe. May the stories we connect draw constellations that reflect a shared ministry that calls out the best in us. Today, our program is by Andrea Grigsby, who used to come a lot, and I haven't seen her in a very long time, so it's an exciting day for us to have her back. Her life experience with significant early childhood trauma and other life obstacles led to chronic depression, low self-esteem, self-doubt, and persistent thoughts of giving up on life or suicide ideation. At a particularly low point, she found therapeutic massage, which led her on a transformational journey culminating in the understanding of why massage and bodywork are so effective for living healthy. In 2007, she became nationally board certified for therapeutic massage and bodywork therapist. Her latest work involves an advanced clinical massage practice grounded in the latest scientific research for pain management. She has evolved and transitioned into a mentorship and internship for advanced massage and bodywork professionals who want to accelerate their career. You may not know that she was a Christian preacher and a youth pastor years ago. Her educational studies led to a deconversion of her religious beliefs, which was a difficult and painful transition. Her newest passion is to speak her life message of hope by inspiring a growth mindset over a problem-fixing focus for self-improvement. Her speaking is engaging and committed to the human struggle to live on this planet, to survive the trauma, and to engage being alive, fully aware of present of being in our imperfect bodies. She teaches the practice of sensory self-therapy to create spatial awareness in the present moment. This practice helps one live by conscious choice rather than by simply reacting impulsively to external stimuli. Sensory self-therapy allows you to experience living life from the inside out with your senses in a way that inspires purpose and impact within everyone who hears her.
I really wanted for you to have an experience today. And how many of you would like to have an experience today? Like, you didn't come here to just hopefully sit and listen. However, that's a good thing too. But if you did come here to actually hear something that might change your life, I hope that you will participate today with me and those of you online as well. So sensory, many of us have been told that sensory therapy, how many senses do we have? 5, right? That's what we were been told. But we actually have more. We have vestibular sensory, which is our balance in space, yes? And I am keenly aware of that recently in some health struggles that I've had. We also have pressure. It's awareness of the pressure around us and many more. So how many of you have been told to relax and your body goes the opposite direction? All right. So we're going to start off with something that involves all of you. So if we're going to go in the opposite direction, we're not going to relax. I would like you to follow along in some tension here, all right? So I want you to squeeze your, make a fist, right? Right? Maybe curl your toes, squeeze your armpits, clench your jaw, all of that, hold it, take a deep breath, and then release the tension. Right? So for me, relaxation, as soon as somebody tells me to relax, that is the last thing on my mind to do. How we enter into a place where we can feel non-reactive to our environment, and here's the drum roll, is to suspend judgment. So I'm going to ask all of you today to do that with me and to suspend judgment of your environment around you. And we're going to do that through our senses. How many of you think that you have either you feel judgmental towards others or you've had somebody feel judgmental towards you? Right? Hopefully I'm not alone. Yes? Yeah? I'm not alone? All right. So being able to suspend judgment allows us to come into a place where we have space to make a decision on what we are doing in the present moment. And all of us experience when we're home alone and we're reviewing the day. I want you guys to all try to picture in your mind, I don't know, a point in your life where something was troubling, sad, hopeless, torn apart, not sure how the future is going to come into what's going to happen in the future. And hopefully, if you're anything like me, that maybe doesn't take as long. Some of us, that comes a little easier when we're by ourselves to think about all the things that we maybe could have done differently, or all of the things that we wish would have happened, or what we wish somebody else would have done, and made a thought of judging how they should have responded or what they should have done. And I want to tell you a story. It's a Chinese parable, and hopefully some of you have heard of it. But basically, it's about, does anybody have any water? I'm gonna need some. I'm just going to be honest. So my sensory, which is interoception, proprioception, which is your awareness of what's happening in space, because my mouth is dry. And maybe some of you can feel right now you might be hungry, or thinking about lunch after, or maybe you ate something before you came and you are not feeling great. But I think that the important part is to be able to come into this moment right here, right now, and that's what we are going to do. So the Chinese farmer had a wild horse, that stallion, that came onto his property, and all of the people of the, thank you so much, I'm so sorry. Much better. Okay, so all of the people of the neighborhood came up and, oh look, there I am. I'm becoming aware of everything around me. Came and all the neighbors were like, oh, that is so great. You have a stallion and this amazing thing has happened to you. And they're so excited. And the farmer's response is, maybe. That's a good thing, maybe. And then a few months later, the stallion ran away. And all the neighbors were like, oh, that's a bad thing. I mean, you lost it. Here you had it, then you lost it. That's a bad thing. And the farmer's response is, maybe. And then the stallion comes back a month later and he brings a bunch of his fellow horses along with him. And so now there's a whole corral of horses. And all of the neighbors come running up to the farmer saying, that's a great thing. This is a great thing that's happened. Oh my goodness. And so excited. This is a good thing. And the farmer's response is, maybe. Then his son decides that he wants to gonna tame them and be able to ride them, and so he is breaking a horse in and is thrown off the horse and breaks his back and no longer can walk. So then all the farmers are, I'm so sorry, that is a horrible thing that's happened. Your son won't be able to walk. How awful this is. And the farmer's response is, maybe. Now, I don't know how many of you might find that hard when a loved one has had something traumatic happen, and that might be a maybe that's a bad thing. That can be hard to really fathom. But so I really want you to go into your own spot of something that you think is unfair or you've been hurt or feel broken in. Find that spot. And the concept is for you to say maybe and suspend judgment. So then a few months later, war broke out in the country, and the army and government came by and was collecting all of the sons of the farmers' community to go off to war. And all of the villagers come to the farmer and say, oh, what a great thing, how wonderful it is that your son won't go off to war and be killed, because they wouldn't take him because he couldn't walk. And so the moral of the story is that we need to suspend judgment in our life in order to be able to make space and embrace the wholeness of your life. How do we do that? That seems like a big task. And we're going to do that through our senses, through what we smell, through what we taste, through what we hear. And right now, I want you to think about your feet, the bottoms of your feet that are on the floor. And we're going to suspend what happened before you got here. And we're going to suspend what happens when you leave here. And we are going to be right here in the moment. And we are going to be with ourselves and experience our environment from the inside out. So I want you to think about your skin right now. You may have a shirt on that is maybe tight or doesn't feel right. You might have material on that feels itchy or uncomfortable. I want you to think about in your mind what your skin feels like. You may be cold or it might be warm. I want you to use your five senses, not mine, not what the person next to you is feeling or seeing. And I actually do want you all now, we rely too much on our optical nerve and what is happening. And so that we can get more focus in our nervous system to the other senses in our body that we do not use as much, I would like you to close your eyes if you're comfortable with doing that. I want you to shut off all that activity in the brain that comes with using your optic nerve. If you don't want to do that, just try to be in your space all on your own. Then I want you to, we're going to be silent for just a minute. And this isn't about who is sitting next to you or, again, saying what happened before this talk started or what is happening after this talk happens. And I want you to listen to what you hear around you. And it's not necessarily about being quiet. You can move or being still. I just said to close the eyes. You can move around if you need to. You have an intelligent body that can do miraculous things with breathing, respiration. I could bore you on the amazing thing that happens in the moment as we breathe into our lungs and what happens, how the oxygen travels through our bloodstream and how many times our heart beats that we don't have to tell it to beat. How many times you swallow, you don't have to tell your body to do that. Suspending judgment. That means that in a world that is so binary, or good or bad, is it possible that something is both? How do we suspend judgment? Means that we get curious. We don't decide, well, how does my skin? I knew what my skin felt like a little bit ago, but how does it feel right now? Like, how does it feel on your bones when you're sitting? Some of you might have a little bit of pain in your tailbone or in your shoulder or in your neck. And I would ask you to not push it away, because nobody wants to hurt. So we have a tendency to want to push away what we think we don't want to experience. So just accept your feet hurt, accept that your shoulders might hurt, or that you maybe have a headache, which are no fun. And I talked about a huge promise of making a simple shift that can change everything for you. So when you were born and you had parents and you went to school and you went and did these things, you were told this is what is good and this is what is bad, and this is what a good girl does, and this is what a bad girl does, or a good boy does, or a bad boy does. And didn't really have time to accept whether that's a true statement. Like, there was no chance when we're young and born and malleable the first 5 years of our life, there was no chance to actually think about what you are, what's being told to you and you're experiencing. So the time that you were in school, or the time before you went to school and you were playing with your friends, or the time when you were younger, right? And you had all of these things. I want you now to come all the way forward and in, and I want you to feel the chair that you're sitting on and hear the voice that you're listening to, that you're not there anymore, that thing isn't happening anymore. And I will not be the kind of positive person that doesn't acknowledge that a bad things happen. And that's where it took me so long. And if I could help anyone in this room come there quicker, is that feeling of hopelessness of having tried everything that you could possibly imagine to make the change or make the shift, or to after I get my degree, or after I get this job, or after I move to this place, or after my child is a couple years older and can do things, after, and 52 years later, which is me, that after just never comes. It really doesn't. The way that you can live differently and walk changed and make choices is to create space in the moment right now by being in your body and feeling your environment. So the people might be a couple feet away from you or behind you, sensing without seeing, because we actually, the eyes, for those of you who don't know, we see like 3% of the light spectrum. So these eyeballs that we rely on actually do not see what all the other 97% of things that is happening around us. And there is all kinds of computers now that can actually detect electric pulse from the heartbeat. We have Bluetooth that's going on that makes it doable to be online. We have all kinds of waves, radio waves, all of these things that we do not see around us, but yet we tell ourselves if we don't see it, how can we believe it? Well, then there's 97% of stuff that maybe we don't believe in. We use a phone, we don't know how it works. What I'm suggesting is that your body is way more intelligent and that you are only aware of a small percent of what it's capable of doing for you through your senses, through what you see, through what you feel, through what you smell. And I have you open your eyes if you would like. And I do want to close. I don't even know, I should have a countdown of a clock of how much time we have, if there'll be time for questions or not. But I want to leave you with, so self-integrated sensory therapy is about intentionally becoming more aware of what your intelligent senses are capable of doing. I mean, what would happen if you actually thought about what you're hearing when you start to feel that you're getting upset, okay? Or you're feeling sad about something and you take a moment to actually come into the moment and feel where you're at, and this thing or this endeavor isn't happening right now, but yet all of the energy is being expended and robbing you of the moment that you're in. I want to hopefully make you curious, suspend your judgment, suspend what you think you might know about your body is capable of, suspend what you might think you understand about your environment, and actually come into a place of curiosity about experiencing your environment right now. And I'm going to close with some words. Let me get them here. And if you want to, the biggest part is I want you to do what you feel. If you want to stand up, sit down, sit on the floor, whatever you want to do so that you can actually be here right now and hear the words that are not my words. First quote is anonymous, and the second quote is from Alan Watts. And I hope that you will hear the words and maybe understand something a little different. Life is like a coin. So picture a coin. Life is like a coin. Pleasure and pain are two sides of the same coin. Only one side is visible at a time. And remember that the other side will turn again. And that's anonymous. This is Alan Watts. The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexities. And it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequences of misfortune, and you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune. I hope that you will take a moment, and we'll do one more moment of silence and really give yourself the opportunity to think about your life as a coin. So we're not saying that bad things don't happen, that horrible things happen to women and children and minority when we're young, when we're vulnerable and incapable of defending ourselves regardless of the age. Horrible things happen. So we're not, sometimes in what took me a long time was, and everybody talks about how just think about the good things, just think about the good things. And I felt it was so short-sighted that it didn't acknowledge all of the horrible things that are happening. But if we take the coin as a metaphor for life, and we take the idea of, rather than what we would say is a bad side of life is something that we need to fix or something that we need to do something about because we have a problem, but rather we look at our life as a coin of both pain and pleasure. And then as a whole, focus on, what do you want to create in your life? What do you want to experience in your life? I was in a religion that it was all about heaven. Everything was about preparing and doing this thing after I die. And even somehow managed after deconversion for a long period of time is still be about doing things for, the good of something in the future that you reward or thing that you might have. But to just do something for the love of doing it in the moment took a long time. And you have a choice every day about what you are going to do with your life. And I hope that you will create some space. I hope you won't look left or right. I hope you'll look in your heart and determine what you want your life to be about.
The final poem is by Gwen Matthews, entitled Feel That. Each breath, every inhale or exhale, we are living, breathing, connected. We are the whole, complete, beautiful selves that we were born to be. Feel that? In your bones, in your muscles, in your heart and your blood. That is the extraordinary you. The you who was born for this time, this place, this moment. Feel that? The struggle, the worry, the pain, the loss, the grief, it is still you. You are still whole, complete, beautiful, extraordinary. Feel that.
How could